Hello there, my name is Mr. E. So during the transition from feudalism to middle class society, the middle class started to make fundamental changes to the structure of their societies through the use of the judicial system, or the court of law. Now these changes led to the modern idea of private property, a concept that would change the world forever. Private property rights would allow the rising middle class to get a foothold in the social hierarchy, giving them just enough security to start producing goods and commodities in a way that is still the basis of the current global economic system here in the 21st century. But underpinning the middle class and their business ventures based on private property was another crucial social development: the growth of paid work. The idea that you could trade your time for payment if you used your skill to produce something for your employer. So, all of the peasants that were leaving the countryside and moving into towns and cities were going to be put to good use, or put to work. Not in a communal sense as they did working on the lands of their lords, but now as individuals who would make a living, a payment in exchange for their labour over time.
My name is Mystery. For reasons unknown, I have been thrown back into the past almost 100 years, and this is my story.
From humble beginnings of bourgeois merchants and artisans and guilds with teams of workers helping to produce goods, life would evolve into the factory house known as industry. Now, let me give you an example of the origins of industry. We're going back to the mid 1700s to a simple factory mill design. It included simple mechanized equipment known as machines, powered by hydropower and operated by people using a resource called cotton to make yarn. Now, this factory idea was the start of the New World Order, the economic production tool of the modern age, on the backs of labouring people and machines. Now, this would become known as the Industrial Revolution. While it has changed significantly in its complexity since the 1700s, you live in an industrialized world today. But why did industrialization become the norm? The answer is in its advantages. Industry allows a concentration of workers and resources in one place, under one roof, reducing space and transportation constraints. When machines process materials into goods, this makes products more standardized, and this massively increases overall productivity and output when compared to when humans produce the same, if they can make what machines do. Now, this therefore makes products more available to more consumers in more markets. Seems pretty obvious, right? The crucial result here is not a world where everyone just has more things, but is the industrial system resulted in huge profits for industrial owners and investors. Industrialization also made human skills less necessary. For example, before mechanization, if you wanted to make clothes, you needed people skilled enough to make them. People power takes up time in training and producing. But the factory system meant you could have, more unskilled people that don't need extensive training. They just need to support machine operations and work monotonously in assembly lines. But it wasn't all easy for the poor factory owners, no. Factory houses full of machines and requiring large amounts of raw materials are expensive to start up. You need a lot of assets, resources, and money to create them. This is known as capital. You've probably heard the term a lot. This is why the people that created and own the factories are known as capitalists, due to their relationship with the capital investment inherent in industry. This system is completely tied to the rise of private property and free market ideals. And this is the basis of how life works here in the 21st century, globally, not just in certain areas or parts. But what of the labourers, the group who worked in industry? Was this a new paradise in comparison to the previous medieval-style peasantry? Absolutely not. Industrial life was horrendous for workers. In some industrialized society, the life expectancy of a worker was half of that of their farming equivalent. Industrialized towns and cities were dirty, polluted, and densely populated with squalid living conditions. Industrial workers were also subject to inhumane working conditions, where workplace injury and death were normal. Factories were designed for machines and profit, not people. Children were also used for labour because they were cheaper to employ. People were also subjected to very dehumanising conditions, and a working day could be 16 hours long, 6 days a week, for very little pay. The industrial workers of the world were completely disposable and were treated so. But why would people be subjected to these conditions? In a very idealistic sense, the factory owners and capitalist sympathisers would argue that it was in the name of progress and development. What that really boils down to is for profit. So people started questioning this system. Did the horrendous conditions of workers in factories and their appalling living conditions in industrialized towns and cities really justify the wonders of industrialization? Should this system be designed for the profit of factory owners? Or should the fruits of labour also be shared amongst those who produce the goods? After all, they did the work. Some refer to this line of thinking as the social question. This is the basis of socialist thinking. These people helped workers organise themselves and unionise. The intent was together the working class may try to get better pay and, importantly, better working conditions. But how do you challenge the people that own the property, the means of producing, and then have all of the political power in a society? This was done through methods called striking and collective bargaining, using the power of numbers to make demands of industry leaders. Some socialists went beyond just seeking a better go. They wanted to revolutionise the world for workers. If all the capitalists did was own the means of producing and take all of the additional value, profit, left over, then why are they needed in the process? Their skills produce nothing, just their capital. What if labourers controlled the factories, worked and shared the profits? Dangerous thinking, no? Well, this was the basis of socialism. Many socialists thought to use existing democratic systems as democratic socialists to break into politics and change the game for workers. This is also why you have the birth of many labour-aligned political parties across the world. And they carved out a huge political presence for themselves. Some would even use this political motivation to revolutionise the industrial world against the capitalist class. Think Russian Revolution, Chinese Revolution, bold attempts to break away from capitalist society and free market rule. Anyway, in summary, the reason why you go to work or you get a job in the modern sense is because of the industrialization of the world. The reason you have some conditions like the holidays and sick leave, the weekend, work health safety laws, and that child labour is illegal, is because workers fought to get it. And when I say fight, I do mean literally and figuratively. So remember, next time you wake up for work and you catch yourself questioning, why do I do this? It comes down to an age-old struggle. The trade-off between your time and skill required to help someone, somewhere, continue to increase profit. Now, if you have any thoughts on anything discussed here, please let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it. Remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery.